back to Phenomenon. Just kidding, Phenomena, but also Chaperone. If you see this, I love you. Actually, when you see this, I've been practicing this thing called manifesting, I guess, in the form of changing every time I say if to when. Try it. It's been working out for me so far. So I'm so happy that you came back for episode 3 of season 2 of Phenomena. I'm Mimi Dibbs, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the Dyatlov Pass. I don't know if a lot of people know about this. I think I have a pretty surface level understanding of what the Dyatlov Pass is. I know it's about hikers that died under very mysterious circumstances. So I guess, warning, if you don't want to hear about a spookier tale, then go watch Fairy Rings, episode 1 of season 2. That one is not spooky and very fun. Also, episode 2 is about Atlantis. So that one's not very spooky either. But we had to put a spooky one in there, especially because today's scriptwriter is my lovely fiance, John. That's very exciting. I'm sure this script is going to be very fun to read. Of course, our lovely script master, Ruben Hanohano, went through the script to make sure that it reached Phenomena standards. We have a very high standard of script here. It always goes through them first to make sure that it makes sense before I print it and then cold read it on every episode. Phenomannouncements! Let's get right into it. I wanted to call out my amazing friend and photographer for my headshots because I just got my headshots redone. I went to Dallas this past weekend and I went to go visit Journey Jade on Instagram. I'll put it on the screen and I'm pretty sure it's just Journey Jrnie. That is her full name. That is her given name on her birth certificate. It's the coolest name ever. Journey. What a freaking awesome name. And she embodies the spirit of Journey. She is just the most creative, fun, bubbly little forest fairy I've ever met. She's got hair down to her butt. It's amazing. She is lovely and she's an incredible creative producer. She produces shows for her job right now. She's also a pilot, which is, just casual. Just, her and her fiance are both pilots. Aren't we all? She is incredible and she does really good headshots. So if anyone's in the market for a new headshot and you would like to either travel to Dallas or you're in the Dallas area, definitely reach out to her because she is, I cannot express enough. She has done all of my headshots that I've ever had done. My first ever headshots. And then I think I got one other headshot burst, done between then, and then this was my most recent one because I was I don't have any recent headshots. My last headshots, I had really dark hair, and I was well, that's not me anymore. You know what I mean? I'm different now, Mom. It's not a phase. I guess in that case, it was a phase. She's amazing. Love you so much, Journey. Thank you for the amazing headshots. I think without further ado, let's just dive right into our, had to, of course, cover up the script. Ooh, this one has a photo, which I will put on the screen, but also I can describe it to you if you're listening on the podcast version. Let's get into Chilled to the Bone, the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass. Ooh, I know it has to do with a snowy region, hence the Chilled to the Bone title. I love it, by John. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate you. February 2nd, 1959. Deep in the Ural Mountains of Russia, Igor Dyatlov. Oh! It was named, what? It was named after one of the hikers? Oh, and that's the photo. Oh my gosh. See, I'm already learning things I didn't know before. Igor Dyatlov and 9 other experienced Soviet hikers camped on the slopes of Kolatsiakl in negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit weather. In the dead of night, something goes terribly wrong. So terrifying that they slice through their tents from the inside. That is the one big thing that I remember about this case is that the hikers sliced their tents open from the inside. Even though they set it up, they clearly had an opening to get out of it, but they, I guess, experienced something so terrifying that they had to get out immediately. So they sliced through from the inside and fled into the frozen wilderness. Whoa. What unspeakable force drove them from their shelter? What horror awaited them in the darkness? Whatever it was, it left behind more questions than answers. Spooky. That's literally the script too. Isn't it so fun when you can't tell what I add in and what's in the script? I guess it's just for me to know and for you to find out. And yes, this is the photo that is in the script. It's of Igor Dyatlov. So this was before he knew what horrors awaited him. R.I.P. Alrighty, let's get into the lore. In late January 1959, Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old mountaineering expert, led a group of 7 men and 2 women on an ambitious 14-day ski hiking expedition through the unforgiving Ural Mountains. Most of them were students or recent graduates of the Ural Polytechnical Institute, eager to take on the ultimate challenge, a Category 3 route considered the most difficult, stretching from Vizhay to the remote peak of Mount Otorten. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's the other thing that I vaguely knew about this case is that they were hiking experts and that this was one of the last tests that they had to take to like complete their certification, I guess. So yeah, TLDR, they're very experienced hikers. So the way they were found and kind of what took place is very confusing because these are people that have done hikes before. You don't just drop into a Category 3 hike and expect to be fine. Also, if they're recent graduates of like a specific institute, they are all graduates. I don't know if that institute has anything to do with hiking, maybe not, but they were all probably like hobby hikers. But again, you don't really do something like that just because. You definitely need to have some sort of experience. So yeah, these were experienced people whose climb did not go according to plan. The journey began on January 27th. And for the first few days, so this is like a couple of days, like they were going to be gone for a couple of days. I could not be caught dead going on like a mountaineering or hiking expedition. I'll do some hikes, like, some like day hikes with my dog and John, of course. We love hiking, but like, no, you can't catch me going to like a snowy mountain in negative 30-degree weather with wind chill. It's probably like negative 50. Oh my God. Oh, no, I'm actually good. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nope. Thanks for asking. I'm all right. So for the first few days, the group made steady progress despite the brutal conditions. Oh, I can't even imagine. One member, Yuri Yudin, turned back due to illness. And this is why you always use that PTO. Get it? True. True. If you take nothing else away from this story, it's that if you are feeling any type of way, any type of sickness, use it. It could save your life. PTO. While Yuri started his return journey, his friends pressed on, unaware of the doom ahead. Oh my God, that reminds me of people that like miss flights that then end up like going down. Like, I don't like that. I'm sure he was like, oh my God, all my friends who I was literally in the beginning of that hike and then I wasn't feeling well. Like on February 1st, the group set up camp around 5 p.m. on a slope of Kolatsiakl, which literally translates to Death Mountain. What? Awesome. Yeah. Let me just set up camp on Death Mountain. That sounds like a vibe. Sounds pretty chill, I think. They ate their dinner around 6 to 7 p.m. and that's when everything went all Black Mirror. Season 6 coming soon to Netflix. Are we, hello? Are we just giving Netflix a free promo? Fine, I'll let it slide this one time. But Black Mirror is dope, I will say. Didn't it start as a UK show and then like Netflix bought the rights to it and then now it's like not just UK, but I know that like the first like 2 seasons or something was all UK actors. Black Mirror, if you're not familiar with Black Mirror, it's a show that it makes you feel all sorts of uncanny valley feelings where it's like about things that you're like, ooh, that is too close to home, or that could definitely happen, like things going awry with technology or AI or just like anything that gives you that like trolley problems feeling is Black Mirror. Ooh, there's another photo. Oh my goodness. Who took these photos? I wonder. Is it like satellite? But I'll put it on the screen as well. But it's of the hikers on the last night of camp. They have like, it looks like ski gear. It is snowy and they're not looking like they're having a great time. I can't blame them. I wouldn't either. I'm not setting up camp on Death Mountain. When Dyatlov failed to send a telegram to their institute by February 12th, no immediate alarm was raised because delays were common. Okay, so Dyatlov was like the person that led the whole expedition. Oh, got it. Okay. Igor Dyatlov on the case. He is leading the whole expedition up to the mountain, and then they're gonna come back and say, yay, we did it. Delays were common. They're not gonna like, at the first sign of a delay, set off a red flag because then nothing would get done. I'm sure there's like the weather interferes with the ability to communicate and stuff all the time. But when worried relatives demanded action, a rescue operation was launched on February 20th. He didn't send a telegram by February 12th, and they waited until the 20th? Okay, I thought this was like a 24-hour wait. This was like a whole freaking day. That's like 2 weeks. That's insane. That's crazy. I would also be like, excuse me, do you know where they are? They'd be like, I don't know. It's been like 2 weeks. They're probably fine. What? Wow, that is a long time in between. By February 26th, another week passed. Searchers discovered the group's tent half-torn, snow-covered, and abandoned with nearly all of their belongings and shoes inside. Investigators concluded that the tent had been cut from the inside and the hikers had fled, some barefoot, others in socks. Already very weird, because if you're an experienced hiker and you have to go outside of your tent for whatever reason, you don't go barefoot or with socks on. Ew, wet socks. Ugh. They were clearly fleeing something they were afraid of. At the forest edge, under a large cedar tree, they found evidence of a fire and the first 2 bodies, Yuri K and Yuri D. 2 Yuris. Both were shoeless, dressed only in their underwear with burn marks on their hands. Oh, I wonder if we're going to get into this. I'm sure we will, but I've also heard a lot of the main theory being that they got hypothermia. As to why they were found just in their underwear is when you experience hypothermia, I guess you feel very hot, even though it's the exact opposite. Your body just, I don't know, something happens. So that could maybe explain why they had burn marks on their hands, because they were trying to get warm, but they couldn't. So they were literally touching the fire without even realizing. The branches of the cedar tree were broken 5 meters high, suggesting that they may have tried to climb to escape something. Oddly, Yuri K died lying on his back, but was found face down, implying his body had been moved after death. By his other friend? What? Huh? On February 27th, between the cedar tree and the tent, the bodies of Igor Dyatlov and Zenaida K were discovered. 6 days later, on March 5th, Rustam S.'s body was found nearby. The 3 died in poses suggesting they were desperately trying to crawl back to the tent. Ooh, okay, I'm glad I kind of gave a trigger warning, because this one is creepy. But I listen to things like Morbid, the podcast Morbid. So I'm all for this stuff. I just know not everyone is, but I think this is very interesting. And it's very spooky. That's so spooky. They were trying to crawl back to the tent. And also, a couple of days go by. This was February 26th, the tent was discovered. The 27th, the bodies of Igor and Zenaida were discovered. And then 6 days later, it took them another 6 days to discover some other bodies. That's wild. Rustam S. also had a cracked skull, though it was not considered the cause of death. Did it happen postmortem? In fact, medical examinations found no fatal injuries, concluding hypothermia was the ultimate killer. See? The theory, which we'll get to in a minute. It took over 2 months to locate the remaining 4 bodies. Wow, see, that's another thing. I did not know it took this long to recover where the other bodies are. And especially they find most of them, but then the other 4 are missing until over 2 months later. How do you get either that far or that hidden? That's wild. They were discovered on May 5th, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine 5 meters deep into the woods. These bodies were better dressed, with evidence suggesting they had taken clothing from the others to stay warm. But strangely, some of this clothing was found to be radioactive. I don't remember if I remembered the whole radioactive part of it, but I did know that some of the bodies had clothes that they weren't theirs, they used other people's clothes. But to be found under 4 meters of snow, that's wild. Avalanche? Perhaps. 3 of the final 4 hikers had fatal injuries. Nikolai T. had major skull damage, while Lyudmila D. and Samin Z. had crushed chests. Oof, probably from maybe the avalanche, I guess. A doctor compared the force requiring to cause such injuries to the impact of a car crash. Is that how much impact an avalanche can have? That's nuts. Even stranger, Lyudmila D. was missing her tongue. That's terrifying. Where'd your tongue go? Cat got your tongue? No, that's okay. Listen, I'm trying to make light of the situation because I'm uncomfortable with the idea of someone missing their tongue. What are those characters in the Hunger Games? Something with an X. I forgot. But they were the ones without the tongue because the Capitol had cut out their tongue and made them servants of the Capitol. Anyway, that's creepy. What happened to your tongue? All right, let's get into the theories, of which I'm very interested in because WTF. Now that we've laid out all the chilling facts, it's time to dive into the theories because it is, say it with me now, a phenomenon in that it does not have an actual explained reason as to what happened, right? It's speculation. No one actually knows. There's no scientific way to back into what actually happened. So still very much unsolved, although all their bodies were recovered, thankfully. What could have possibly driven 9 experienced hikers to cut open their tent from the inside and run into the deadly cold? Was it something natural, something supernatural, or something classified? Buckle up, because these theories range from the plausible to the downright bizarre. Ooh, I'm interested to see, especially the classified part, because it's like, does that have anything to do with like the Russian government? Because the Ural Mountains also were where the Stargate Project, episode that we did was about like mind control and whatever, like the experiments from the CIA, somewhere like MK Ultra. The US government was trying to one up the Soviets. Had something to do with the Ural Mountains. I remember Ural Mountains, so that could probably have something to do with the Russian government. Creepy. Stranger Things. First up, a natural disaster. This is the most widely accepted theory by modern researchers. The idea is that a small slab avalanche occurred, forcing the hikers to cut their way out of the tent in a panic and flee. The blunt force trauma found on some of the bodies could have been caused by the avalanche itself. But critics argue that the slope wasn't steep enough for an avalanche and that there was no clear evidence of one when rescuers arrived. And also, how do you explain that some of them had time to take their clothes off and some of them didn't, and then some of them like were found trying to climb up, which I guess kind of makes sense, but then they all split up, and then what happened to their clothes? Were they sleeping naked? I'm confused. I am confusion. All right, next theory, wildlife encounters. A reindeer might have stumbled onto the tent, crushing the hikers with its weight. What? What? Yo, reindeers are scary? No, I thought he was just bringing presents. It was Christmas. Just kidding. Christmas had just passed the month earlier. 2 months earlier? So he was just bringing them some presents, right? So it's a happy story. No. An adult reindeer, weighs 200 to 400 pounds. Good to know. How am I going to sleep tonight just knowing that reindeer's out here weighing 400 pounds? Hate that. I hate that. That's like moose. Meese. What's the plural of moose? If one fell on Seaman Z and Lyudmila D, it would have caused their crushed ribs. Rustam S's cracked skull? Probably the result of a hoof. But like, are reindeer also known to be like possessive of their environments or like angry? Or like to stumble upon hikers and want to like instigate? I feel like they'd be more scared than anything. Another theory, a wolverine. Which is a real thing, I guess. I thought wolverines were just like, oh, werewolf is what I'm thinking of. I guess wolverines are a real thing. I don't love it. Known for their fierce temperament, sharp claws, and a secret weapon, a stinky spray like a skunk. I hate that. Why? I don't want to know that wolverines have stinky spray. All right, well, if you're ever in trivia, that's a question, you know the answer. A wolverine might have entered the tent, releasing its foul odor and driving the group out in a panic to air out their clothes. That's such a dick move. He just like goes into the tent and is like, wow, what an asshole. In their frantic escape, they may succumb to the freezing temperatures. However, this theory doesn't explain the severe internal injuries. Yeah, and why was that chick's tongue missing? What? Or maybe a Yeti attack. Oh, I like that this is called like wildlife encounters, but like Yeti, that's in and of itself a phenomenon, right? I think. So a Yeti attack, because why not? A more outlandish theory suggests that the hikers were attacked by a Yeti, or in Russian, menk. Proponents of this theory point to the severe trauma on some of the bodies as evidence of an encounter with a massive unknown creature. Sasquatch enthusiasts rejoice. You need evidence that the Yeti existed? Look no further than the Dyatlov Pass. Just kidding, there's no clear evidence. Our final theory might just blame it on the government. This one's the Stargate Project, anyone? On the night the Dyatlov group met their mysterious end, campers about 50 miles away reported seeing strange orange spheres glowing in the sky. These eerie lights have led some theories to speculate that the hikers may have inadvertently wandered into a secret Soviet weapons testing zone. Oh, with the radioactivity. Oh my God. Supporting this theory are the inexplicable injuries found on some of the bodies and the discovery that certain pieces of the hikers' clothing contain traces of radiation. Literally, didn't we mention this in the Stargate episode where they like saw some lights over the Ural Mountains and then they thought that like the US was spying on them or something? They thought that it was like aliens. Was it aliens? Who knows? I don't know. Could the group have been exposed to a classified military experiment with devastating consequences? Like, the government knew that they were going to go hiking, and then they were like, yeah, definitely set up camp here and see what happens so that we can see if this is an effective trap. I don't know. Whoa. If so, were they victims of a Cold War test gone horribly wrong, or did they witness something they were never meant to see? Wow. RIP to the 9 victims of this tragedy. And there's a photo of them. So 10 ventured into the Ural Mountains in 1959. Only Yuri Yudin lived to tell the... Someone lived? I didn't know this. Oh, wait, the guy that turned back because he was sick, duh. Only Yuri Yudin lived to tell the tale. The case, declassified after the fall of the Soviet Union, has baffled investigators and cold case enthusiasts for decades. Was it a freak natural accident? A deadly military cover-up? Yeah, I mean, it was, classified as part of the Soviet files? And then they, didn't want anyone to know this? That makes me think, I feel like that's I'm all for the declassified one, or the whole, weird operations testing zone thing. That's terrifying. And also, I feel like that makes sense because that was right around that time. A deadly military cover-up or something far more sinister. Yeti? What if a Yeti just wants to chill? What if the Yeti tried to help? Let's not pass judgment on the Yeti. Okay. The Dyatlov Pass incident doesn't just linger in the realm of the unexplained. It haunts it. Ooh, what a line. That was, John, did you write that one or did Ruben? I can't tell. That was amazing. A chilling reminder that some mysteries refuse to be buried. Even if you're experienced, be careful where you tread. Yes. Wow, what a good closing. True. Because again, these people were experienced hikers that knew what they were doing. They had done several hikes before this one. So even if you're experienced, you have to take the precautionary measures. But also if this was a case of them stumbling upon a zone that they shouldn't have been in, but somehow got access to go through, it's kind of how do you avoid that? It sounds like they did everything they could have. The Russian government maybe they were looking to test out their new weapons on unsuspecting people. That's so sad. And then maybe that's why they buried it later. That's my theory. Alrighty, Pokepig. Obama Snow, the forest tree Pokemon. Oh, I love this one. I agree. That's perfect. Pokedex entry. It lives a quiet life on mountains that are perpetually covered in snow. It hides itself by whipping up blizzards. Oh, it is the abominable snowman. I love that. I love Obama Snow. I think it starts off as the little, he's the little guy, little pine guy. And then he turns into Obama Snow. And he's a tank. If you have him on your team, he's great. But then obviously he's really weak toward fire stuff because snow. But Blizzard as a move is really OP. It's great. And there's almost always an ice town in all the Pokemon games, which I really appreciate because then you get to see all the fun ice Pokemon. And Obama Snow is almost always the one that, if it's not Obama Snow, it's the earlier evolutions that then you can evolve into Obama Snow. But great Pokepick. I love that. And it really just harbors the spirit of the forest trees in a snowy abyss, which sounds like what the Ural Mountains look like. Probably, yes. Obama Snow. So, of course, you can always write to us on phenomena.cases@gmail.com. We do a Phenomena episode at the end of each season. We just did one at this end of season 1, if you want to go check it out. One of my friends, Angel, on Instagram, mentioned that they were thinking about this one phenomenon. It was around the time that they were growing up in a farm, that it just reminded them of that. Don't delay. Angel, send it. I want to know your guys' personal stories. I'm not going to read them until the Phenomena episode, by the way. Definitely don't delay on sending me your personal stories, whether or not they're related to the Dyatlov Pass or just, if you were oh yeah, wait, I did have a personal phenomenon that I want to talk about. Definitely email us, or you can comment on YouTube. You can join our Patreon and then get access to our Discord. We have a free Patreon tier, which is great. You get access to the Discord right away from that. Or it's a pinned comment on there. You have to click on the link, the invite link, but it's on there. So it's great. And then there's a $2 tier and a $5 tier. So either way, I post a bunch of stuff on there. New episodes come out every Wednesday at 6 p.m. PST, even though I've been really bad about uploading them exactly at 6 p.m. PST lately. But you know what? We're getting better at it. We already have 375 subs on YouTube, which is so amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know if I've said that enough. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting us on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and review and comment and and subscribe to the channel for more episodes. We release one every week. Next time on Phenomena. Ooh, I love this. It feels very One Tree Hill coded. Next time on Phenomena, we'll be talking about the Roanoke colony's disappearance. Ooh, Yay. I have no idea what that one's about at all. I literally found that one on a list of phenomena. So I'm super pumped. Our lovely co-producer, Jodelle, wrote the script for that one. And of course, Jodelle, our lovely, amazing third CEO. We have 3 CEOs at Phenomena. Hashtag 3 CEOs. Jodelle, on top of helping to write the scripts, also optimizing the YouTube channel. So if you're like, wow, this YouTube looks really polished, it's because of Jodelle. So thank you, Jodelle. Love you. And remember, you can always explore the rabbit hole without falling all the way down. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next week. Bye.